Hello, and welcome to the round table at Avalon Springs Farm, and I'm Karen. This week's topic, I'm going to continue on my topic of color and helping my clients pick yarn over the internet because we're not having shows. And I'm also going to talk about two yarn bases. This is Glass Isle on the table, and this is Pendragon behind me. So let's plunge into the topic for today, and that is analogous colors. I got out my color wheel again, so we could talk about so let me give you my quick and dirty analogous color definition. I was an art teacher, and so I'm used to having to talk about this, and I'm happy to answer questions. So totally, always feel free to type in any questions. And by the way, I need to post it from last week, but by the way, when you tell me hello or write something, I add up the dollars, and for every comment, I send in $1 to the Maryland Food Bank. So, please feel free. Say hi 3 times. Anyway, okay, so analogous colors. People just think of that as a big word and like, what does that mean? And it's really actually very gut level simple once you dismiss the big word. I talk about it in 2 ways: those who are mathematical thinkers and those who are sort of more literary thinkers. The word analogous colors really just means these colors on the color wheel that are related to each other based on their location on the color wheel as being next to each other. So this little group is an analogous color group. This group is an analogous color group. These 3 or these 4. Okay, so they need not opposites, not triangular, not any other structural relationship. The neighborly relationship are all the analogous color relationships. So one way to think of it, if you're like a mathematical kind of thinker or analytical in that way, I used to tell my kids, well, in math class you learned about parallel lines. Analogous colors are like sort of like the color interpretation of parallel lines. The 2 lines, they are not the same line. The 2 colors are not the same color. But parallel lines are on a track to go in the same direction. And analogous colors kind of do that for us mathematically as well. So they even share parallel lines, share a direction, parallel colors, share a common ingredients that make them, related to each other, that kind of thing. Literary interpretation, everybody has, by the time you graduate high school, you've taken one of those tests that says, this is to this, that is to that, and you have to fill in one of the blanks with those a more verbal literary orientation to what is analogous. An analogy, runs like the deer kind of thing. And that gets into the idea that, the yellow and the orange, they are not the same, but just like the he runs fast and he runs like a deer and the deer. Okay, so just like the he runs fast, the deer runs fast, he runs like a deer, we can get if we look at these, the deer, the fast running, and the guy, you can get that same sort of literary relationship going even when you're working with color. So for those 2 different hemispheres of my clients that think mathematically or think from the literary world, I hope I'm pulling you into what is an analogous color. Now, this week, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, I made yarn this whole week. I did not mean to do this, but it just worked out perfectly for our discussion of analogous colors. And my helping you guys figure out how to pick out yarn on the internet using this formula. The analogous color formula is so popular with designers. It is the one that they used, I mentioned this a week ago, but all of those designs that work on the principle of like the fade, they originated by doing a thanks.
Okay, there we
go. Okay, thank you, Jenny. Hey, you guys out there, we got new internet pods or something, but they're updating. So hopefully by the time I next have to broadcast in this room, I'll have a better connection. Cross your fingers for the technology goddess out there, you know. Anyway, okay, so where was I? What was I saying?
The fade.
Oh yeah, that fade. Usually, if I were in an art class, when I would talk about a fade, and this is part of why I brought it up last week, I would talk about a fade going from like, you know, a tint or a shade. Like I would talk about a fade going from black all the way down to a primary color, and that would be a fade for me. Or white as a tint, from white all the way down to some other, maybe a tertiary color, you know, like one of these little middle ones. That to me is a fade. But in the designs that I saw online for the last 5 or 6 years, usually the word fade, they're really talking about a fade from one primary color to another, or sometimes the whole wheel. But a lot of times the fades are like, oh, we're going to fade from blue to yellow, or maybe just, oh, we're going to fade from this boysenberry color all the way to this spring green color. You know, they're talking about fading that way. Okay, that's not how I would use the word, but most people in, you know, kind of at that gut level, it's a very understandable way to organize color. So there you go. So we're talking about those fades in some sort of sense. But they're analogous colors. So look what I did this week. It was just completely by accident. I didn't figure it out until I started scanning up the colors, because I did this one, and then I did that one, and then I did this one. But we're going to go by the color wheel, and I'm going to show you their relationship. I might have it backwards, but the purple is here, then I get into this, then I get into this, then I get into this, then I'm all the way spinning. I left a little yellow out, but it's in here very soft. So the yellow is in here and yellow in here, then I get into here, and finally, I'm spinning my wheel all the way around, almost off the table. I'm back over here. So I can't believe I really, even though it's the backwards rotation of this wheel, I finally, do you want to get back up? Oh, I am so proud of my Jenny. Here, I'll hold it.
There you go. Sorry.
Yay! We're like up in our game in terms of our videography work. But we knew you needed to see things on the table, so we're now like casting our view a little better. So, you know, not that anybody would make this fade, but if you're picking out yarn online, you are not seeing these colors laid out like this. You're looking at a picture of this one and then a picture of that one, you know. So if you're at home and you're trying to organize colors for a project and you like this principle of organizing colors, even if you're not doing a pattern called a fade, you just want your pattern to coordinate, this is one way to coordinate colors. So if you had to, print your and, you know, have it kind of with you while you're shopping. There's no rule that you can't have a color wheel at your computer while you're looking, or by, you know, your comfy chair where you're surfing the internet on your phone. And if it helps you, you know, to follow a relationship like that in order to pick out colors online, that's a great tool, and it's a free tool, and it really only comes with the concept of the understanding of how you are organizing the color. you know, so I'm, you know, that it makes me happy to impart this and talk about this with you guys. Let me talk a little bit about this yarn. Jenny, can you hand me one? This is my empty shelf. You guys are not getting to see my empty shelf. But anyway, so this is glass isle yarn. There's more of these colors, but I just got out 2 of a color. So I probably should tell you what it is. I like this yarn. I like dyeing it because I like working with silk. But so glass isle, and I kind of named it that because, you know, silk creates this high luster. If you could have glass on texture, it would be silk, you know. So anyway, glass isle yarn is the name of the yarn. Each of these little skeins are 200 yards. They're 3.5 ounces, sometimes, you know, a generous 3.5 ounces, but I'm labeling them that. It's cultivated silk and merino. And they're really cool because it's a single ply. It's not 2 strands or 3 strands. It's just 1 ply. So the pleasure to dye it was that I have this large surface area in which to convey the color. So it's fun to do the dye work on this yarn. I call it an Aran weight. It's 1 ply. I would say suggested needle size is like 9 to 11. Stitch per inch is maybe 12 to 16. And I do say on my label that you can hand wash because it's so environmentally not so friendly to do the dry cleaning. You know, I don't know what everybody does with their silk. In cold and dry flat. I think with all of your hand-dyed stuff, it's a good idea to use cold. It keeps the color integrity the best, I think. But, you know, that's just my thoughts. So this is the glass isle. And then the other thing I was going to talk about was some of the Pendragon yarn. I didn't used to carry this in anything but the fingering weight. And now I carry it in some of these other weights. I have everything from, I have bulky, worsted, DK, sport, and then the fingering, which I need to work on a lot more of for the fall. But since I had a lot of these other colors, I thought I would at least pull a few out and show them to you. Because people always ask me about matching. And I kind of loaded them into the shelves a little bit so I could find them easily by things that I thought were related to each other. So let's see. I don't know if I should. What should I get out, Jenny? You're like, I don't know, Mom. So let's see. I'm pulling out. I'm just doing this randomly. Why should I? So this one is what I would call a thoroughly speckled yarn. It's entirely speckled. There's no not speckling of it. And what was this colorway? This is called Joyful Muse. I think this is the last of this one, but I'll make some more. And it has a million colors in it, so it's not that hard to link it up with some other color choices. And let's see. Velvet Cloak, I would absolutely say that Velvet Cloak is inside of Joyful Muse. So that was an easy link. But that's not specifically an illustration of analogous colors. Come on, Jenny, let's find some analogous color relationships on this wall. Do you see any? I know, now you're like, didn't you learn something from my little chat?
Yeah.
Is anybody asking a question about analogous colors?
None that I can see.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, how about, let me pull out, I'm going to pull out some worsted. Did I have some bulky or did I, oh, this is twice I'm pulling out worsted. But I see an analogous color relationship. I don't know which one you would want to do in the middle, but let's say you were going to do three skeins of color. These work on this analogous color relationship, although the color wheel is again backwards. But if we look at the color wheel, here's the blue, and then this one has this mid-tone of green and a dark green. I mean, these are, and you could because their relationship is next to each other, it wouldn't matter, or you could substitute this one, has some lighter greens in it. It wouldn't matter where on the pattern that those colors fell, because the entire garment would be an expression of this analogous color relationship. So, this could be a sweater, and this could be, like a yoke or sleeves or a design in the middle, stripes. It could be the other way around. The focal point could be the variegated, and the semi-solids could be what you use to calm it down, vice versa. But I wanted to at least on the spot pull out some analogous color relationships. Make me do it, because that was too easy. Let's see, what's another one? Okay, here's another one, blue. People always love blue, but here's a sport. But I consider this more an expression, you know what, Jenny, daggone it, this is like tint to shade relationship and not analogous color. So we have a counter example. So if you can see, these three yarns are more of an expression of tints and shades than analogous colors, because they are really in the part of the color wheel that is the blending between blue and green. But if you note, look, this color is not on there. It's not a source color. To get this, you have to take this bluey green color and add black, which is a shade of the origin color. And to get this color, notice, it's not on here at all. See, it's not on there. It's not a source color. To get this color, you have to take your source color and add white. So we are back to last week's topic of tints and shades in this week's show about analogous colors. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that to you guys. Did I make it too complicated? I hope not. All right, analogous colors. Come on, Jenny, should we find somewhere? Oh, so that's a tint and a shade. The actual color is like this green, but in order to get it, this green, you have to add white. So that is a tint. Why am I not finding analogous colors? They're staring me at the face, and while I'm on a show, they're harder to find. This is probably what my customers are experiencing online. I got this all set up for you. And then I'm not ready. Okay, so analogous colors. Jenny, come on.
I'm looking as I'm filming them, like, oh, my hand's slipping.
Okay, so let me see. What about, I don't know. I'm just going to do this on the fly. Okay. This is some fingering weight. So we're moving from red to orange, but my best example, this orange is an example of a tint because we added a lot of white to the shade of orange, but you could move, but this is at least an analogous direction. Maybe here's a more orangey one. I don't know if it's the same orange, but you could do, there we go. There's an analogous color relationship.
Yes.
So we've moved from red to orange, and we have some shades of each in this middle skein. Maybe not a ton of the red, but a little bit. And we've gone from over here to over here. So that is an analogous color relationship. All right, I have made a mess on the table. So, but I again, I'm helping you. I know you guys are all going to go shopping in the fall, and you might not even be on the same website. So one tool you can help yourself to pick up colors better, if you like this expression of, you're going to knit with more than one color, you're probably knitting with more than one skein, you're looking at a shawl pattern or a sweater pattern or something that takes several skeins, something with an emphasis on one main color but maybe some second and third additional colors. And you've got to shop and plug in your favorite color arrangement into this design. Going with analogous colors is one way to do it and kind of ensure that the finished knit is something that is cohesive and works together on the color thing. Who wants to spend all this money on all these fancy yarns and then knit them together and say, something's off about the color? So understanding color relationships is key to the design work and the shopping that you're going to do prior to your knitting. Anyway, hoping that this has been helpful. I need to say I'm talking to you on a holiday. It is, and I hope I get this right, but I think you say it.
Isis
Lagba.
Lagba. Yeah.
We practiced a bunch of times. Isis Lagba. I hope that's how you say it. But to all of my clients that are celebrating that holiday today, I bid you a wonderful spiritual journey and much joy and happiness on your holiday. Thank you for joining me. This has been the Round Table with Karen at Avalon Springs Farm. Bye-bye.